Good afternoon and welcome to the principal's office. I am Principal Edward Gordon. I'm so glad you have tuned in for this weekly broadcast where we will be interviewing educational stakeholders who have made a significant impact for others and with others in education. In the book, The 15 Valuable Laws of Growth, written by Dr. John C. Maxwell, he talks about the law of modeling. The law of modeling states it's hard to improve when you have no one but yourself to follow. A good mentor is a worthy example, available, has proven experience, possesses wisdom, provides friendship, provides support, and makes a difference in people's lives. We believe there are many outstanding leaders in this world, and weekly we want to highlight those leaders. Leaders that will help us provide models of excellence for others. Today on the principal's office, we have another great guest who models excellence, Dr. Kimberly Honnick. Good afternoon, Dr. Honnick.
Good afternoon, Principal Gordon. How are you today?
I am wonderful, and I'm so glad you have an opportunity to be on the show this afternoon.
It is my privilege to be here today. I'm so grateful. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. I would like to start off with a brief introduction of our guest today. Dr. Kimberly Honnick is owner and CEO of Bow Nose Learning and Harnessing Hope, helping other people excel, coaching and consulting services, LLC. She also serves as director of educational programs and services for the Montclair Child Development Center, a Head Start agency. Dr. Honnick has served in public education for 28 years in both teaching and administrative roles. She has presented at various conferences domestically and internationally. In 2017, Dr. Honnick was awarded Learning Forward's Principal as Leader of Professional Learning Scholarship. And in 2020, the Global Forum for Education and Learning awarded her as one of the top 100 leaders in education. Dr. Honnick advances curriculum and instructional designs and empowers stakeholders to transform their practice through coaching and leadership opportunities. She leads instructional programming, professional learning, and coordinated services, including designing innovative practices, maximizing staff talent, and aligning partnerships. Passionate about supporting future educators and leaders, Dr. Honnick serves as an advisory board member for Pace University Lubin School of Business's Transformative Leadership Program. She is passionate about leadership, special education, student support services, and personalized learning, has served as an expert in these fields. Help me welcome again Dr. Kimberly Honnick to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Principal Gordon. I'm so grateful.
Let's get started.
Sure.
Peter Forbes, a photographer and author, states, "Stories create community, enable us to see through the eyes of other people, and open us to the claims of others." Dr. Honnick, I wanted to ask you, what is your story?
Well, thank you for asking, Principal Gordon. Again, I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. So my passion and my purpose is to teach. I knew ever since I was a little girl that I wanted to be a teacher. In my third grade All About Me book, I wrote on the line, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" A teacher. And that's exactly what I went to do. I went to Kane College to become a teacher. I was an elementary major with actually K to 12 and K to 8 certification in content area of social studies. I had the privilege of starting in Montclair Public Schools at Glenfield Middle School, which is your alma mater, as a student teacher under the leadership of Mr. Dan Gill, who's still teaching there, and Miss Pat Podesta, who is now shining down on me from heaven. And so having the most valuable student teaching experience truly anchored my teaching career. I was so prepared to enter the classroom. It was there that I learned things that later learned the pedagogy behind. Like, for instance, when we created our own lesson plans and units, I learned about standard-based research supported instructional strategies even before they were really called that I knew what I was doing. I learned about tailoring and differentiating before I knew what those terms even were. I learned about a positive classroom culture and climate before I had that language. And so for me, having a solid student teaching experience was invaluable. And it's one of the reasons why I felt so strongly that sometime in my career, I wanted to support student teachers because I had the most powerful experience. And it's why right now I serve as a site supervisor for student teachers at Grand Canyon University, as well as I'm adjunct faculty at Kane, teaching an assessment class, working with upcoming teachers, preparing them to enter the classroom. So that's really where it started for me. As a little girl, I knew I wanted to teach. I have a passion for teaching and learning. And then having that amazing foundation with my student teaching just prepared me to launch into my own classroom teaching career. I started as an elementary school teacher. I taught grades 3, 5, and 6. And then I became a literacy teacher. So I taught grades 3, 4, 5, and 6 literacy, reading and writing. And I love being a literacy teacher. I love teaching everything, but I love teaching writing. And I think one of the reasons why I love teaching writing the most is exactly what you just shared about the power of a story. So I love teaching kids how to write, going through the writing process, using their creativity and imagination, teaching about different genres and have the kids have ownership and choice in what they want to learn and what they want to write about. And so from there, I was asked to start a new academy, which was an off-site academy in Patterson Public Schools off of Eastside High School, which was the Pre-Collegiate Teaching Academy. And so I had the opportunity to go from the elementary school to the high school in my first administrative experience, where I had also the blessing to be able to start a school from scratch and plan and design what that was going to look like and deal with everything from operations to personnel and staffing and budgeting and, starting a new site. So that was a valuable experience. And from there, I had my first central office experience. I was asked to go to central office to work on a grant where my role was to support the career academies in developing thematic interdisciplinary curriculum that both worked with the core courses, but as well as integrated the academy's theme into the curriculum to make those connections, which is really, really important. And then from there, I became a high school vice principal. And then I spent several years after leading curriculum and instruction as director and assistant superintendent of schools, where I focused on literacy initiative, mathematics initiatives, positive behavior supports. And then I had the privilege of learning about something that became so important to me. I decided to do my dissertation on, which is response to intervention. And I love response to intervention, RTI, because what it really does is work on building that solid tier 1 foundation and general access to equitable curriculum for all children. I'm all about equity and access and ensuring that we're doing whatever it takes to make sure the needs of our learners are met. And then when the children are exhibiting difficulty, whether it's academic or social emotional, we look at our tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. By the same token, for our children who are meeting or exceeding the standards, we want to make sure that our curriculum affords them the opportunity for enhancements and enrichments. So RTI for me is not just a framework for children who are struggling, but also for children who are meeting exceeding standards, because we all have different strengths. We all have different learning styles. And so we want to really help children understand what their strengths are, how to leverage them, and how to work with others and learn with others in collaborative learning groups, working with each other's strengths to help build their own areas of growth and development. And so that's what I've been doing since then. I was then focused back at the high school, where I served as a high school principal, as well as leading different teams of work at the high school division. And for 7 years, I supported specifically the high school and had invaluable experiences being a high school principal there, working on turnaround situations. One of the biggest initiatives there that I worked on was personalized learning, building out a blended learning model. And now I went from the high school to the preschool. So now I have the privilege of leading early childhood education, where we're facilitating the same piece. We're building out a blended learning model with the little ones. The teachers are doing an amazing job. I think the thread throughout my career has been professional learning. So anchoring any improvement effort or initiative that we're doing in professional learning and investing in professional capital, a term by Andy Hargraves and Michael Fullen, which is amazing work, called professional capital. But what that really means is focusing on developing the capacity, strengths, and expertise of our staff, looking at their passion and jagged talent and how to leverage their passion and jagged talent to be able to contribute that to our learning community. So that's just a little bit about my trajectory.
As I was listening to what you were saying in your story and your journey, you had a lot of experiences, several experiences in elementary, high school, leadership roles. And I just wanted to ask a question based on your story. What advice will you share with anyone that's in the audience about how to continuously make these pivots in your life, in your career, and be able to accept positions at different levels of education and also different roles in administration? What has helped you and what have you learned from your journey?
Sure. So specifically, I've taken 2 roles that were grant funded. So I knew after 2 or 3 years, 3 years, that the position was going to be over. And I've had a lot of people ask me, well, why would you do that? Because what I was able to learn and work on and laser focus on within that grant funded period, I wouldn't have had the opportunity. I've been trained at TC and working on, at Columbia with Readers and Writers Workshop. I work on the Math Science Partnership with Rutgers. I worked on positive behavior support with the violence and vandalism work out of UMDNJ. These experiences and able to build a team of instructional coaches for me was wonderful and enabled me to learn and grow a lot. So the first thing I would have to say is, in my opinion, in order to be an effective administrator or teacher, we need to be a learner and really want to learn and grow and continue to learn and grow and build our own repertoire, our own capacity, integrating reflection, learning about who we are, looking at our learning style. For example, leveraging a tool like the DISC, right? And seeing what our preferences are, how we communicate with others, and how to take the areas of our growth and development and explore those. And learn more how to close those gaps. So for example, I was working with a superintendent when I was director of curriculum instruction, who not only encouraged me, but being with his background, wanted me to learn really a lot about the budgeting process, right? It just so happened my next superintendent, when I was assistant superintendent that I worked with, was a former BA, right? That was an amazing opportunity for me. So one, wanting to learn and grow and always looking for opportunity. The opportunities are out there. We just have to go after them and want to take them on. So investing in myself as a learner has probably been the number one piece that has enabled me to grow and learn and be able to pivot and shift that work and know when to make shifts, whether it's with my team in school, my team in central office, and things like that. So first and foremost is being a learner and wanting to grow and learn and investing in your own professional growth and development and then using it, right? So it's one thing doing it, it's another thing using it. So I put myself in situations where I'd have to flex those muscles that were a little bit weaker or I really didn't have a lot of experience with, and be willing to be vulnerable and put myself in a position where I'm saying, you know what, I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm learning, but let's figure it out together. But so not just wanting to grow and learn, but deliberately putting myself in situations where I have to apply what I've learned and build and grow my own capacity. So I would definitely say that's first, front and center, is personal growth and development. I think another thing for me that I would encourage other people is looking at your why, right? And knowing your why. And that why is probably going to change as you grow and develop. But I can tell you, I have one solid foundation of why that has never changed and will never change. And if it does change, I need to get out, retire, and just do something else. And that is who I serve. My client are children. I serve children, bottom line. And so everything that I do, whatever role I'm in, those children come first. And that's not always popular with adults, and that's fine. I'm very clear on my why, who I serve. I am laser focused on kids. They are my client, and I want to make sure that every step we take is directly correlated to their best interest, their not only academic, but their social emotional learning pieces. So I would say one is definitely being a learner, investing in your own personal growth and development, and putting yourself in circumstances to apply that, knowing that you're going to be comfortable. The more uncomfortable, the better, and that you're going to have to be vulnerable. And being vulnerable is really not a sign of weakness. To me, it's really about being brave, right? And being brave and trying when it's hard, and showing up and willing to be seen when we know, when we don't know, and just being there. And then knowing that we're enough, that we have what we need inside of us, and we'll have that support, and looking for that right fit of a learning community that embraces and appreciates those things. That's one. And then two, laser focusing on the children. For me, that's my why. So clarity on why, I think is also really, really super important.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. You're sharing a lot of good information and advice for the audience. And one thing that I wanted to reinforce is about investing in yourself. And I will tell anyone in the audience, if you do not do that, your career will definitely hit a wall. And it's important to take time to invest in yourself. So thank you very much for sharing all that great advice. Let's talk about your current role as the director of the Montclair Center, and also the work that you had to do based on COVID-19 and make the pivot at this period of time. So please share.
Sure. And so when I started my role, one thing that I was really looking at, I'm about a couple things, right? I'm about moving the needle. So moving kids' outcomes, and also teachers' growth and development. So that's really the two things that I focus on in the role that I'm in. How can I move the needle for children? How can we increase their outcomes, their student learning outcomes? And how can we work on growing and developing our staff? So those are always the two areas that I focus on simultaneously. In my experience, and the research supports, the answers are in the room. And the more I build the teacher capacity, the better. The number one factor that contributes directly to student learning outcomes is teacher quality. Of course, there are other factors, but they're not as influential as we might want to think. High quality teaching matters. Teachers matter. Programs don't teach, platforms don't teach, teachers teach. And so the more proficient our teachers are, the more we're going to see growth and development in student outcomes. And what I'm hoping is that when teachers experience that joy and success, right, their satisfaction level increase, and teachers want to continue to teach and find that joy in teaching, and also having that support. Because unfortunately, anybody isn't supported, but I know a place called school. That's all I know. I do know that when people don't feel supported, that's when people go. Right. So they come, they find it's really leadership matters, and it's really that support. You don't even have to have all the answers. You don't have to, but they know when you're there and you're supportive. So I build out those two areas. So the one area in terms of the student outcomes that I was laser focused on for our little ones is closing that achievement gap, and ensuring that my children going to kindergarten are kindergarten ready, and that we work to close that achievement gap that my population is already a part of, given their demographics. It's just how it is. And so we're laser focused on providing the children with those early learning experiences, so that when they go to kindergarten, they'll have those kindergarten readiness skills, and we can work on closing that achievement gap through equity and access work. So that was my priority there. In terms of the teachers, that took a little bit of data collecting, and both looking at quantitative data, qualitative data, and looking at the story, right? So we started, I had a plan to implement blended learning. And so I was going to work on it as a pilot. So I was working with looking at different partners on the platform piece. So I started that work, not this past summer, the summer before. So 2019, way before COVID. And what I was working on with teachers at that time was building professional learning communities. So within my setting, that's a little bit challenging because I didn't have that type of structure, but just starting the work of professional learning communities, focus on learning, building team, and looking at ourselves as a learning community with the formal PLC structures and processes. So that's where we started. We also started taking a look at what kindergarten readiness means, the definition of that, and getting clarity around that. Starting into the blended learning planning, where I was contracting with a provider and working on getting the devices because we didn't have any technology. None. We might have a desktop in the classroom. There was an iPad in the classroom, but the teachers didn't have technology. We didn't have any kind of displays or Chromebooks or any devices at all. Then we hit March of last year, and we literally have to go remote overnight. And so I was incredibly grateful to have a leadership team that embraced the vision, because I have a very robust vision. I play big, I don't play small. I just want to put that out there, right? I figure I'd rather go big and have to pull back a little bit than start small and fall short. So for me, I always go big, and I always run on short-term and long-term work, right? So what is the right now we need to focus on while we're building out a long-term strategy? Going big or going home? And so we took our resources and allocated them to be able to go one-to-one. So in a very short amount of time, I'm proud to say that we've been able to go one-to-one for our 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, which again, didn't happen before. And I laser focus on professional learning for the teachers. I taught them how to use Google Suite, Google Drive, and all the apps within Google Classroom, Google Docs, Slides. We're laser focused on Google. We have to go that way. We also were working with another app, but I needed something that had more capacity. So I laser focused this summer on professional learning. I met with the teachers, and I continue to meet with the teachers every week. And every week we work on a different skill. And I'm glad to say right now what's happening is the teachers are presenting what they're doing. Our teachers have created interactive slide decks to facilitate their instruction. Their capacity I'm actually super proud of them because their practice has exponentially grown in technology since August when we started this. So basically what we did was implement a blended learning model. And blended learning has 3 components. And I just want to reiterate that we had this in place. Blended learning, there's a lot of misconceptions around blended learning. People are associated blended learning with remote instruction, and they're 2 different things. I've seen teachers on TV for the Times Square New Year's Eve, resolution, and blended learning, let's get rid of it. I'm like, no, blended learning isn't the enemy, not at all. No, it's not, I promise you. So essentially what blended learning is, it's a 3-part model that we've been working on. And the 3 parts are a platform. So the children are spending time on a platform, and I'll talk about each in just a moment. And then there are tasks. And those are tasks that teachers create. That's time where the teachers are working whole group, small group, direct instruction, facilitating learning, where the teachers are creating those tasks that they want the children to work on, where they teach, model, and practice, where they do their small group to help support and such. And then there's project time, where the kids work on projects that help them demonstrate their learning, and there's a lot of choice there. So with the platform, we went with an adaptive platform, which I highly recommend. There's a lot of stuff out there, especially now. And it's really important to look for a high quality platform from a very, very reputable company that's heavily research based. So it's important to do our homework on that and just take a look at what it does. So I was not interested in something just linear for kids, meaning it takes the kids just through a series of activities and such. I wanted something that's adaptive, that covered literacy, math and science, and social emotional learning. So the platform that we went to incorporates those 3. And so the children, we have platform time built into our daily schedule, both on-site and remote. And the children spend 15 minutes. This is high quality screen time. So this is not just putting kids in front of a device. Children have their Chromebooks and their tablets, and they spend 15 minutes in literacy, 15 minutes in math and science, and social emotional learning is built in. And then the teachers are able to use that data to help inform their planning, and they plan their unit plans with that data, and then work on their delivery of instruction of teach, model, and practice not only the procedures and routines for the remote classroom, but for their instruction. And there's times they meet with the children twice a day for 2 meetings, and then they meet with children individually on a rotating basis just for check-ins. And we also meet and support with parents, because I think this time our parents need a lot of support on this type of piece. And so there's the platform time. And then the tasks, like I mentioned, is where the teachers have their direct instruction. They facilitate, they create the activities and such. And then Friday is project day. And so when I facilitated this model at the high school, which was the same model, whether you're 4 or 14, the model is the same. Just what changes, of course, is the content and level of difficulty. But the framework is the same. And so what we're doing project time is it's really reflective of personalized learning. And we're beginning to, I know this is a lot, but I told you I'm a lot. So again, is we're actually weaving in design thinking, which is a model out of Stanford that starts with empathy. And the problems that we're having the kids work on and apply are really through the lens of solving for something. So this isn't just crafting, the making something to make it. The kids are really working, we're teaching the children to apply what they're learning in their literacy and numeracy skills to solve for issues either at home or in their community, and taking them through, just starting with empathy, asking questions about how they can begin to solve for something. So that's where we are now. We have platform time implemented, and we have myself and one of my team members who focuses on data and supports this whole initiative. Every Friday we have a meeting looking at the data dashboard. Every Tuesday we meet with teachers to share that data. And then we use that information to help coach teachers in their planning and such, and use it, as well as parents and families to support their little ones at home. So that was really the primary piece. The teachers were really solid on the task component because that's what they've always done, but it was integrating platform time, and then project time. So the emphasis was project, the tasks, and now we're working on, developing out the projects. But we started with things that are small, just things that we can apply. And the kids are doing an amazing job with it. So that's a little bit about our blended learning model.
That model is very comprehensive, and I just enjoy the fact that the way the passion comes out of you when you're explaining it and the work that you're doing. So I'm excited for you as well as the students. And during this time period, there are some school leaders and districts that have made some adjustments with incorporating new curriculum and new assessments during this time period. From what I hear from you, you focused on the quality of improving teaching during this time period, supporting your teachers with the technology and really getting them to be comfortable with that to improve the instruction within the classroom during this time. And that's not a common thing that has been going on in schools across this country. So I'm glad that you as a leader are definitely understanding the importance of quality instruction and teaching, and it's definitely paying off for your students. So I'm excited to hear that. So thank you very much for sharing that about blended learning and really the true definition of blended learning. So thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that professional learning has been the anchor it's been my anchor for years. Whenever I go in to start something, I start with that. And, it's just what I've noticed is that when, as teachers, we're learners, right? And teachers want to learn and grow, and they want to extend, especially, I think one of the things that works for me is because a couple of things. One is I don't come down with a mandate or directive. Now, is it my expectation that this is going to be done? Absolutely. Have my teachers heard the word directive or mandate? Absolutely not. Have my teachers received one email or piece of paper indicating their progress or lack thereof? Not at all. Not at all. So any initiative is rooted in learning and growth and advancement tied directly to student outcomes, not mandates, not directives, not compliance. That C word of compliance is not in my vocabulary. And please don't think that I haven't been held accountable to compliance for the past 28 years, because I have. My teacher, they just don't see it. They don't hear that. And so we make this, I think, doing the professional learning and the support and showing up every week and providing, I record everything so they can go back and watch. They've been trained. That comes first. And we waited 2 months to implement it until after the teachers were trained, so that they had time to digest it and go through it before we even brought it to the children. So it wasn't like you're getting trained on this tomorrow and starting Monday. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like you got a memo from me with dates. There's no compliance, there's no mandates, and no directives. And my experience has been the work exponentially moves when you make it about learning for the teachers as well as learning for the children. I don't know any teacher who doesn't want children to be successful. If they do, they really need to get out of the classroom immediately, right? So when you make it about moving the work for children, right, that brings about a strong why, and that's what it's in. I can tell you it's not about throwing weight around. It's not about directives or mandates or compliance. It's about we're going to stretch and grow as learners so that we can best meet out the needs of our children during this time. And I've already made it very clear, when we do go back to that schoolhouse, the technology is coming with us. And so I'm having monitors put in every classroom with a little HDMI cord. And it's already been communicated that the expectation is the rock star stuff they're doing. I can show it to you. I can, share a link. So maybe your viewers would be interested in seeing some of the presentations that preschool teachers are doing, is going to continue. But so also, look, time is never our friend, right? But giving some time for people to absorb and learn and try before the official rollout, right? And then making it supportive and just putting up the data. My participation and data use in the platform doubled in 1 week. And what did I do? Nothing. What we did do was show the data. And by class, of course. So what was it? A little maybe positive peer pressure, and then what did I do? I said, who are our superstars? In fact, she did it, right? So we had two well, you know what? The following week, there was another name on that superstar. Not one email, not one mandate. You just show the data. Doubled. Participate classrooms that weren't even on, they're on now. And so creating a learning environment that is supportive and fostering growth and development is also a big part of it. It's the how, right? So we're clear on the what. We're always clear on the what. But the why and the how is really where we have to focus, because that's where we often fall short, right, of the implementation piece, because we got the what, but it's the why, so people know the why, and then the how.
Very good. Can you share about the importance about communicating with parents as you're doing this initiative, and how do you communicate with parents? How did you train them? How do you get them up to speed about what was happening in the school, the expectations? Because that's important when you're putting in a new initiative within a school, that you do have the parents on board and also informed. So just share with the audience about how you kept the parents in the loop of the communication.
Yeah, so the parental involvement piece is always a challenge. The first I have to do is give credit to the teachers. The teachers are the front line working with the parents and families. So supporting the teachers with information, we developed like online resources directly for parents. We created a cadre of videos from how to log on to the Chromebook, because we were recognized as a Google education, which is huge for the preschool space, because I don't know many preschools that are recognized as a Google education, right? We had to apply for it. I had to make my little plea to Google for it, but they awarded us that. So we're very proud of that. And so I think we've created something called a technology resource guide document. Everything's in Google Docs, everything's accessible. We did a series of how-to videos to log on to the Chromebook through G Suite. So all the children have their own Each family had their own child, has their own login. So creating short, quick tutorials with videos. We also have docs we put together with directions and pictures. So some watch the video, some like the pictures, some do both. Making those accessible. So one thing at a time. So we have how-to videos for everything. We have a technology resource guide with literally everything linked. So anybody who needs it, it's right there. We also have the support of, we have a family community engagement team who also helped reinforce. We have a parent workshop actually coming up in the next couple weeks where we're doing via a webinar so we can record it and have translation services, where we're having a representative from the company be there to help parents and families with those level detail questions. So partnering with the company to be able to provide some of those resources is also important. So at first it was giving the families what they needed, right? Technology and the devices and such. The second was how-to videos, how-to documents, technology resource guide. The third was supporting the teachers and giving what they need, and basically it's just time to meet with the parents and families and really support them. So the celebration and the work has really been on the shoulders of the teachers, who have been incredibly patient and understanding. And we encounter the same thing any grade level do. We have children who are working on their own and don't have an adult around to be able to be there. We have children who have adults supporting them. We have children who have adults who are really supportive and are able to have that time. So we also want to differentiate and tailor the type of support our family needs based on where they're at and their resources. So we want to be available to that. But the teachers have been amazing in working with the parents and families. And from my observation, the ingredient there, the secret sauce, is really patience and repetition. That has been the secret sauce that I've seen on our, we are using Zoom, on our Zoom class, on our site, where children, the parents are on, and the teachers really have exhibited a lot of patience and reinforcement. And I told them to take the time to explicitly teach, model, and practice. If that means, they've said to me, well, Dr. Honnick, are we allowed to take a Zoom session for this? Are you allowed? I said, here's how we roll. You are the professional. You do whatever you need to do to support your children and parents and families during instructional time. If that means you need to take 30 minutes to teach the parents then that's what you do. You have the autonomy to make the decisions on how to best use your instructional time to maximize everyone's capacity. You have that. So I think also taking that approach is exponentially moves the work.
Very good. Thank you very much for sharing that, and also just modeling and expressing about that autonomy that you're giving your teachers to be able to do what they need to do for their particular students that are assigned from during this school year, as well as the parents that are with them, to be able to move everyone forward. So, and build capacity at all levels, the students level, the teacher, as well as for the parents. So thank you very much for expressing that and modeling that and sharing that with the audience this afternoon. I'd like to also, let's make a shift right now. Let's talk about Harnessing Hope Coaching Consulting Services. Share with the audience about this business that you run.
Sure. So one of my dreams was to start my own company and really be in a position to support district leaders, administrative leaders, curriculum, really anybody who is looking for that piece, as well as working with others on coaching and, professional and personal growth and development. So I have different coaching certifications. I have instructional coaching. I have result skills coaching certification. I'm an integrative holistic wellness life coach. And I'm a certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team. So I have a passion for leadership. I have a passion for really teaching and learning, but really overall personal growth. And so I started Harnessing Hope, which is an acronym for helping other people excel, because that's really what I'm about. I just really love to engage and interact and collaborate with people. which is not a surprise. Being on the DISC profile, I'm an I, which is an influencer. So I like to talk, I like to share, I like to get people's thoughts and ideas. If someone presents me with a report, I'm the one who say, hey, let's go sit down to Starbucks and have a chat about it, right? That's me. That's how I approach things. I'm great with big picture and vision. The detail stuff, that'll come later. I just want to talk about it, get the gist of it. So doing this work isn't a really surprise to me. The areas that I had to grow and learn in over the years, with the detail work and such, is something that I've definitely worked on. So I felt as though I had tools and skill sets to be able to help people, assess where they are and what they're at, and have conversation to help them identify their outcome. What is their dream? What do they want to do? And then start from there on putting together basically an action plan so that they can accomplish their hopes and dreams. And the people that I've been working with, just so happen outside of, in addition to the education work, are people who have a dream and they have a passion and they want to add value and serve others. And so they want to either start their own business or, start their own business, but start with a particular piece. Or if they have a small business, they want to take it to the next level. So currently I'm working with clients who want to do both, who have small businesses and want to take it to the next level. So I help with that. And those who have a dream, have a passion, have a vision, but really would benefit from having someone talk that through, ask clarifying questions, peel back, and serve as an accountability partner. And so that's what I do. And I love to do it. I love having the conversations. I love learning about what people's passions are. And so what we do is we start with a discovery conversation. And then I give them the DISC, which is a short, maybe 10-minute questionnaire, which just basically asks what your preferences are. From that, you submit it, and it generates an individual tailored report. And it'll tell you your preference for leadership, communication, personality, style. But more importantly, and that's great, but the real important part of this is that it tells you how you can best work and learn with others who are different from you. So I'll give a very quick example. I worked for a boss who I would go in, and remember, I'm the talker. So with me, you need to have a little bit of time, or tell me ahead of time. But being succinct to the point is a challenge for me, right? And so one of my bosses, when I would start talking, would say, give me the bottom line. So you can listen to that and have a couple different thoughts, right? One thought could be, that person really just doesn't listen to me. I don't feel heard by that person. And you can walk away feeling like that. Feeling that way is really horrible, to think that you're not being heard or in turn. But knowing what I know, that person's a D, right? That person is a D and just wants the bottom line, right? Trust the behind, right? Maybe ask for it later. So knowing that, though, the thought that person doesn't want to listen to me, that person doesn't appreciate me, that's the farthest thing from the truth. What that person needs is the bottom line. So then I just shifted my approach, went to that person with the bottom line, boom. And it's painful for me to not give the backstory because I want to give the backstory. I want to give that context. I want everyone to see the big picture. Guess what? Now not everybody wants the big picture, right? So because I've learned who I am and what my style is, but like I said, more valuable for me anyway, speaking for myself, learning about how other people are, I can assess somebody like that now. I know if they're a D, how to respond that way. If they're an S, this way. If they're a C, this way. And then I also know in my professional learning that I have everybody sitting in front of me. So when I deliver my professional learning, or I'm working with my coaching and I knew who I'm dealing with after taking the DISC, what their personality is, I know how to tailor my approach to best meet their needs. So it's not all about me and how I would approach it. So that's probably been one of the most valuable pieces I've learned. And I think that's why I'm effective in helping other people, is because of that skill set. And that's how I've been able to build out, harnessing hope.
Very good. And I know in the introduction, I mentioned that you have not only Harnessing Hope, but also a new business, Bo Knows Learning. So share the audience about Bo Knows Learning.
Yeah, so Bo Knows Learning is brand new. We're just launching it. And so Bo Knows Learning is spelled BOKNOWZ Learning, and is named after my dog Balboa, who, yes, is named after Rocky because it's my favorite. We had this idea. The idea to work on provide. So right now, one of the biggest gaps in education, not only this time, but for going forward, is curriculum and curricular resources, right? And something that I'm really passionate about is social emotional learning and integrating, not SEL as an extra thing, but integrating it right into the delivery of instruction. I'm also about relevance in curriculum. I love curriculum. It's my passion. And I love writing units of study. And so had this idea to write, I should say, interdisciplinary thematic units of study that are anchored in social emotional learning and highlight hot relevant topics like social justice, like cultural responsiveness, and other pieces like that. And it can be done in English language arts. It can be done in social studies. I'm focusing on middle school and high school. We're also doing modules for younger kids, but I'm working on the middle school and high school pieces. It's integrating reading. It's integrating writing. It takes writing through. And of course, I've talked about this before. My favorite part is it's facilitating project-based learning using design thinking. So we explicitly take kids through design thinking process to solve for problems and issues that they come up with. And so it's digital curriculum. It's called the Impact Project. And the Impact Project is focusing on, there are the CASEL competencies. There are 5. Mm-hmm. And this unit, each of my 5 units focuses on a different competency. This one focuses on social awareness. And so it's social awareness and social justice. So we teach, model, and practice what social justice is, what social awareness is. We give kids meaningful, relevant, current examples, including kids, what kids are doing right now. We have YouTube, we have TikTok, we have Instagram. We're using social media to teach what these individuals are doing. We always have kids involved in the work that they're doing because kids are doing amazing things. And then we take somebody in this particular unit, we take the work of Brian Stevenson. Brian Stevenson, people may know a movie came out called Just Mercy. He has a book called Just Mercy. And I read his book and cried. I was so moved by this work. I said, this is something that kids need to know about, right? If we really want to understand the justice system, if you really want to understand pieces about social justice and injustices, this is a perfect example of that. And then we always take somebody with a legacy of the work. And in this particular case, it was a great connection. I chose John Lewis, who had a legacy, of social justice work. And so there's one piece out there where Brian Stevenson actually interviews him. So we have a piece on Brian, a piece on him interviewing John Lewis, and then a whole piece on John Lewis. I start to get emotional because it's just so important. And then I always do a writing component. So for this piece, I chose, and I know it's a little much, but again, remember, I'm a lot. I chose the beginning of Dr. Martin Luther King's letter in Birmingham jail. And the reason why I chose this is because we know MLK for I Have a Dream, and that's great. Please, it's wonderful. But I really want kids to understand really what Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy of in terms of using peace, right, and inclusiveness to solve for social injustices. And his why comes through in that first page of that letter in Birmingham jail. So I write a unit of study and then literally a course that teachers can facilitate with their kids, either in person or remotely, hybrid, it doesn't matter. It's all there for them. Of course, this is not scripted because I don't do scripted curriculum. So everything that's in there that is suggested can be modified. We build in accommodations, modifications for our special needs students, for our kids who need enrichment enhancement, as well as our English language learners. And then the kids product is always a project that comes out of solving for the social justice issue that they identify after they've unpacked some examples. And they use design thinking to solve for that social injustice that they can, and it could be about anything. It could be about the environment. It can involve a problem or an issue in their school, in their community, in their state, in another country. It can be reflective of the environment or animals or whatever they're passionate about and connect to. And so they go through the process of empathy, which is seeking to understand. They do research about the problem and who it really involves. What's really going on here? And then they define the problem. What is the problem out of the research that they've done that they want to solve for about that? And hopefully they learn things that they didn't even think of before. And that's why the empathy part of the design thinking process is so powerful for kids. And then they ideate. They come up with they define the problem, they ideate a potential solution, they develop a prototype. The prototype could be a presentation, it could be a draft, it could be a drawing, it could be a model, it can be whatever it is that's reflective of their solution, and then they present it. And along the way, they they document, right, their journey of their design thinking in a piece. So here they're writing an impact paper, right? And so for me, I'm less concerned about whether it's a research paper or such. I want to put some creativity and imagination there. The kids can do a blog, but they're really writing. They're writing to inform and persuade. I want them to inform their readers about what the issue is, and I want them to persuade their reader about their potential solution. So I integrate a lot of skills, cross a little bit in genres, but for me, I want our curriculum that's supplemental resources that teachers can purchase, districts can purchase, to really prompt. This is not fill in blanks or anything. This is higher order thinking skills. They are analyzing, they are judging, they are describing. This is all up there on the Bloom's taxonomy. And I'm super passionate about it, excited about it. And then there are 4 other courses that go in that bundle. The last one is for responsible decision making, which is one of the 5 SEL competencies from the castle.org, CSEL, is financial literacy. And so it's financial literacy, and the competency we're focusing on is responsible decision making. So it's all about supplemental curricular resources that really can fit anywhere, that integrate reading, writing, problem solving, reflective of creativity and imagination.
Well, I'm excited for you for Bow-Nose Learning, as well as your Harnessing Hope, the consulting business and services that you're offering. So I'm excited for the impact that you are going to make in education. So just continue to keep us informed of the progress of the companies and the businesses, and we're excited for you. As we close out for this opportunity to interview you, can you just please share with the audience one piece of advice? Our audience has teachers, students, principals, aspiring superintendents. What's one piece of advice you'd like to leave the audience with this afternoon?
So you've probably heard this before, but the truth is just really do what you love. Do what you love, do what you have the passion for, and don't be afraid to do something new or different, or take the anchor of what you do and try to do something new with it. That's the best advice I can give. I have a passion for teaching and learning. I'm an educator, and when I went to start Harnessing Hope, I realized I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I had basically an identity crisis, right? So I'm a teacher, I'm an administrator, I'm a public school. I'm not an entrepreneur. And it took me a little while to unpack that and be able to understand that I am an entrepreneur. I am anything that I want to be, and that I can leverage everything I've built in my career to further serve and add value as I continue to grow in myself. And that's because I have a passion for doing it. And I got over those limiting beliefs and that fear, right? So I would encourage people to what is your dream? What is your dream? We all have them. Give yourself permission to dream and feel what it would be like for that dream to be here right in front of you now. And take the first step. Just take one step, a small step, but a substantial concrete step towards reaching that dream. Just one step. And I can promise you, when you take yourself into the scary place, which I did, I was sick, it was scary, right? You take yourself into the scary place because you're inevitably going to have to make changes, right? And out of your comfort zone into the scary place. Take the first step into the scary place. Reach out to people. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Principal, anybody. We are here to walk with each other on our journey. Reach out to someone. There's going to be people who support you and there's going to be people who don't. That's okay. Find somebody who can support you and walk with you on that journey, taking one step at a time. They're out there. Find a like-minded group. Reach out to me. I will walk with you. I will connect you to someone, whatever it is. But there are people to support you. But be willing to have that dream. Imagine what it would be like to feel that dream, having it right now. And take one small concrete step out of the comfort zone into the scary place and find yourself somebody or a couple people who can support you in that tribe. And I promise you, you'll feel so amazing when you start to live your passion and your dream, whether it's within what you're doing, an extension of what you're doing, or doing something different. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you want to connect. I'm on LinkedIn, Kimberly Honnick, Facebook, Kimberly Honnick, on Instagram at Doc Honnick, DOCHONNICK. Principal Gordon, I'd like to offer all of your viewers a free blended learning workshop. So I'd be happy to share that with you. I'm also have a free blended learning toolkit, which is in the form of a mini course. I'd like to offer that to anybody who'd like to see that. So I'll make that available to you. If you want to reach out, I'd love to hear about your story, your journey. If I can serve you in any way, my email is kim@bonozlearning.com, BOKNOWZ learning.com. And I'm looking forward to hearing, about your passion and your journey and your story.
Well, thank you very much for all the information that you have shared with the audience today. And thank you for modeling excellence in your school community. For everyone that's watching, thank you for tuning in to the principal's office. Join us for another episode next week with another amazing educator who has done things significantly for themselves, for others, and with others. Have a great week and see you soon.
Thank you.